right now at 11. From snowstorm to sticker shock.
They're taking advantage of people that, we're in a crappy situation.
Why some drivers are being hit with nearly $800 bills for abandoning their cars. Plus, courthouse escape. How a murder suspect made a run for it on the first day of trial. And later, a heartbreaking loss leads to inspiration.
I wanted to do something to make a difference and protect our kids.
How a high school coach is making sure a teenager's legacy means opportunity for generations to come. Good evening, and we begin with another night falling to near freezing in the Rose City, and less than a week after a snowstorm brought much of the metro area to a grinding halt, yet another chance for low-level snow. Let's get right to meteorologist Joe Ranieri tonight. Joe, another slow-moving system. I mean, this is feeling all too familiar.
Deja vu, David. Now, since we last chatted, some of the advisories have been extended through down to the central and southern part of the Willamette Valley. Now, the metro area is going to be under a winter weather advisory for folks 500 feet and above tonight all the way into early tomorrow morning. There's a chance that advisory does get extended. You can see that white color. It goes from Portland all the way down into Salem and Eugene, and that kind of blue color you see is a winter weather storm warning throughout parts of the higher elevations, especially throughout the Coast Range. That is one location that is going to be seeing heavy snow tonight and into tomorrow. That white color is the winter weather advisory that's also impacting folks throughout parts of southwest Washington and Clark County. So as we look at the future cast, we'll put this into motion. Here we are by 5:30 a.m. You're not going to have any issues out there here locally, but once the kids start to go out to the school bus stop and catch the bus up for school, we could be seeing some snow showers. I'm expecting to see the timing on this anywhere from about 7 to 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and once it does, it's just going to park over parts of the metro area all the way into the morning hours and into the afternoon as well. And like David said, it's again a slow-moving system. Snowfall amounts are either going to be trace amounts to maybe an inch or two in a few locations. This is the high-resolution model, and it's showing by tomorrow afternoon we could be seeing some locations anywhere from an inch and a half of snow. Some models are showing a little more than that. I'll talk more about that in about 10 minutes from now.
We'll be watching closely. Thank you, Joe. Speaking of snow, many drivers who abandoned their cars in last week's snowstorm are having to fork over hundreds of dollars now just to get them back. We've heard from several who went to retrieve their vehicles and found they'd been towed. Okay, that's all right. But then there was this. At least two of those drivers said they were towed by a company named Anderson Towing and Recovery. And from towing fees, mileage, storage fees, both of them told us they had to pay more than $700 to get them back.
I was shocked because I felt like I had left it in a safe place where it wasn't impeding traffic, it wasn't a hazard, and yet it was gone.
I've been towed before, but I was expecting 300 to 500. 787 is outrageous,
All right, ODOT says even if cars were on the side of the highway, they still consider them hazards if they block any part of the shoulder. In this case, ODOT says it was not aware that towing companies were charging that much. Then PBOT told us fees that high are not the norm. So we've reached out to Anderson Towing, hoping to get some clarity over that bill. We'll keep you posted. And as the snow moves in overnight, stay up to speed on the latest forecasts, the closures, one of the easiest ways 24/7 with the KGW app, and of course, anytime at KGW.com. All right, let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. The man accused of running over multiple people on the PSU campus 5 years ago has now pleaded guilty. Greg Porter admitted today to 2 counts of attempted murder. He was also found guilty except for insanity on a 3rd count. Now, it was May of 2018 when Porter drove onto the sidewalk near Southwest 6th and Hall and hit 3 people. Prosecutors say he also attempted to hit a second group. All the victims survived but suffered serious injuries. Porter has been in the Oregon State Hospital since his arrest and will stay there for at least part of his 15-year sentence. A man accused of murder is now back in custody after he escaped from the Washington County Courthouse and on the first day of his trial. Eddie Villalobos made a run for it after a bathroom break after his leg restraints had been removed. That is a requirement, police said, under state law. So he got away from 2 deputies assigned specifically to him, as well as third-party security. Now, 2 more foot chases, and 2+ hours later, authorities caught up with him. Villalobos hiding in a closet in an apartment nearby. The suspect is accused of stabbing a family member to death in Cornelius in 2021. And Vancouver police need your help finding the thieves they say hit 4 convenience stores over the weekend. Police say 2 or 3 suspects robbed 2 7-Elevens and 2 Chevron gas stations. all between 6:30 and 7:30 Sunday morning. The suspect stole money from the register and once from a safe. Police consider them to be armed and dangerous. Well, new tonight, a story about a group of local volunteers with ties to Turkey who've learned their efforts over the past few weeks are about to pay off, and it could not come at a better time with yet another earthquake hitting the country. Over the weekend, our Catherine Cook reports on how sometimes all you need to sort through a major logistical lift is the power of people.
The images out of Turkey are hard for anyone to see. For Murat Yavuz,
unfortunately, really big disaster, yes.
they're especially painful. The earthquake struck near Antalya, where Murat grew up. He immigrated to the U.S. 23 years ago and has been a UPS driver since 2009. For him, life is good. And in this moment, that feels strange.
Kind of guilty, you know. I mean, it's not our fault technically, but how we live like here, you know. They've been struggling, they've been trying to get, you know, under the collapse, everything, you know. Sitting and crying is not a solution or is not a help anymore.
So Murat and others from the Oregon Turkish American Association held a supply drive. Together, they collected 16 pallets worth of badly needed items. Things like hygiene supplies, sleeping bags, and tents. They needed to get all of it up to Seattle, where it could be flown out to Turkey. But how?
I was thinking by myself, what should I do in person, you know? And then I think the best thing I can do is driving and delivering stuff.
Murat pitched the idea to UPS management, including Lyle Arnett.
That's what friends do for friends. Family does that for family.
And they went for it.
It's bred in all of us to react like that. And whenever somebody's in need, that's what we do. We come out of the wood for our friends, family, and the communities.
Normally, you know, the big companies has a big protocols, everything, you know, they need to email each other, blah, blah, blah. But just like this, and then, okay, let's do it.
On February 16th, volunteers loaded the truck and Murat drove it to Seattle. Tens of thousands of dollars in shipping fees covered by UPS. Within 24 hours, the precious donations were in Seattle and on a Turkish Airlines flight to those who needed them. A couple days ago, volunteers got this thank you video. The supplies had arrived, including this little stuffed animal. Murat remembers loading it up.
We try to do something, but it's not enough. We know, you know, we just 16 pallets looks, oh, yeah, a lot, but you know how many thousand people, they need a lot of stuff more than 16 pallets.
Murat hopes this story will inspire others to make their own donations. For those who are interested, we'll be sure to link several nonprofits that are responding. Just head to kgw.com. Also, it's worth noting that besides how they helped in this story, UPS also made a $1 million donation to humanitarian efforts in Turkey. David.
Murat played to his strengths, and look what happened there. Catherine, thanks so much. You're watching KGW News. Still to come.